quick on this. But as you can see, I've been AFK for quite a bit. Main thing is how Era works. So whenever I got to the 100 billion that you've seen, I have still been playing it. Just this is a big part of. There's a lot of idle stuff, and just want to show what's going on. So it's hits and enemies destroyed in Era that you have to unlock all this stuff, and then you can do research, which is you can use this as experience to make these go up quicker, and this will reduce the amount of how much is needed for the experimentation, and this will unlock new modules for each thing that you've unlocked. So that's just and then you have to get to 100% to unlock a module. So for example, if I click hits taken, it's going to use the hits taken to make it finish instantly or enemies destroyed. It's like how research works as well. And then you got to get to, this is your percent chance of succeeding. So you can either gamble and waste all of your stuff right now to try to get one, or you wait until 100%. So I personally wait until 100% every time until I unlock everything. And you just keep doing this until you get everything unlocked. That's how the Era stuff works. It's pretty easy. I don't want to get into too much detail. That's where the fun stuff comes in, and I think the game's worth trying at the end of the day. So, and then after you, oh yeah, and then mining is now worth it. So getting into that is now worth it for the asteroids. And I've done one cluster so far. Now they're getting bigger. So you see the big difference on distance, and the further the distance, the better odds you get. And this is where you do unlock artifacts and more other things. And as far as artifacts go, in the museum, you go here, go in here, you just research an artifact. And I don't have enough right now, but for that one. But you click one, you research it, and each time you research one, it will add more random. Well, not random, more things to what's possible. So that's good as well. And then pretty soon power stones will become a thing, and this will increase damage over time. And universal, of course, is going to be incredibly good because that does hit everything, and neutral depends on both of those combined is where you really start to hit everything. That's where it will help with Era here. And then for the power, Dyson Sphere is still something I'm working on. More Dyson Spheres and things that you make here, the faster you'll be able to increase this. You can max everything eventually, so Dyson Sphere does become very good. That is something I need to work on still. So yeah, it's a little bit low on resource generation, but I'm getting there. And the factory I've also been working on still too. And right now I can get tier 10, so I've been working slowly on getting tier 10 on everything. And the levels themselves, this is where things get really important for the levels. Eventually you can max all of this, surprisingly, so it just gets incredibly expensive, and there's a part that's hard in the middle. It's about where I'm at right now. It starts to get a little bit difficult, but this is where you would increase what you're going to be good at, and you can have presets. So if I want to go back to the factory and finish that really quickly, I would use this one. In fact, I'm probably going to be doing that soon now. If you want to do the tower testing and be something like this, it's up to you. I haven't really found the most efficient way. I'm sure there's more efficient ways out there, but this is how I do that part. So it really comes down to this and the research. So this right here is where it's pretty much a multiplier to the damage and the health, and this is what helps get you through the Era part. And this part is where you start to realize a lot of problems with your designs. You gotta figure out ways to optimize and fix those issues. And this is even with scripting and everything. And the way that I do arcade is, you'll see now that I'm done with Lucky Will. Everything is completely done, except for skill points. I keep doing it for the skill points for right now, but everything is completely done. And in Jumbo is where I have automation right now with a worker, and the luck is a little bit low. So actually, I'm going to go back to Lucky Will because of that, to finish getting the rest of those skill points, because they're so important right now. And let's go to E18 so it lasts a long time. Increases the luck. And Jumbo Arcade. Lucky Will. And that's another thing. So right now I am gonna, just as an example, I'm gonna actually go to load this. You can see here that the machine speed is now way higher. And so actually for clarity here, because the wording here does not make sense, refining literally only does the ore smelting only. Boost efficiency works for pretty much everything, because that's your power that can boost things. And your machine speed is what you really want to decrease the mining itself to get to tier 10 and keep this up. So you need this to say, you need that one to stay high as soon as possible if you want to do factory stuff. Factory can be completely skipped, however, I'm gonna do it because I think it is worth it for gems and exotic gems. And as soon as I get everything to tier 10 buildings first, I'm gonna start working on, well, I'm not gonna just do that too. We'll be able to do tier 5 on every single production, and then I'll have passive income on every single thing, and in gems and exotics. So the idle path does pay off eventually. It just has a very long startup, as you can see. You know, making a tier 10 machine is massively slow until you can get to town perks, and then you need a lot of skill points in the town perks, and the only way to get the skill points is through things like the arcade or tower, mainly tower testing, because you need experience, or going here, use your idle time on experience, which I do all the time right now, because experience is actually more important than any of this right now. So we get the experience. You can see I have 7 again now, and that's enough to up this. Might as well for right now, because you can reset. So one thing that's good to do is always keep one of these blank and never save on it. So that way, every hour, if you have to wait 1 hour when you make a change, but if you ever want to reset and make something new, you use the last one as an empty. That's why I keep one as empty at all times. So that's where that works out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I still haven't gotten the hidden modules in here. Now these are hard. I mean, there's actually a lot to these, but once you do eventually get models and things like that, it can get easier. It's just getting there is a little bit difficult. But that's another thing where the factory is gonna equal out, because once I get producers for every single different thing, and they're all the highest and best producers, and they stack, and every single thing is generating resources, things are gonna get far easier on a lot of things. A lot of this will be used far more as soon as I start going down that road. And workers, I try to do as much mining as I can. As you can see though, it's kind of not worth it right now until I get more things done with what's going on for the arcade, the laboratory, things like that. Mining will eventually be what you'd want to do with all the workers, and this is, again, it's very opinionated on which way is the best way. I personally think that mining is still good to do at the beginning, but you don't really need the second floor. That's where I screwed up, because I didn't even use the asteroids until now. So if these two were swapped, that would probably be good, because then you can start working on the Dyson sphere right away. But you do need a lot of resources to get started on the Dyson Sphere too. So the main thing is the Dyson Sphere. Even if you don't have it, you can make terrible designs and still have some sort of boost for the first floor for these. And so this is why I think the power is still worth it overall here. Oh, actually, fix that. Yeah, there we go. Because it can boost itself, which then in turn boosts everything. Yeah, this was actually an exotic gem upgrade. Yeah. Yeah, I just never turned it on. That's something fairly new. And I am using exotic gems as soon as I can to get other things unlocked. That's starting to come too close for these as well. But again, it all comes down to focusing on the factory at this point for getting producers. And still doing the second floor of the mining the whole time, because the way mining works is every single time you go up a military tier, it multiplies the cost of doing just one of these by, I think it's 1,000, something like that. It's ridiculously high. So you do want to do mining as soon as possible and try to get that middle ground where it's still worth it because it's still super cheap and you can max out the distance. And I'm finally getting there. So that is the primary reason why I know that having it first has zero purpose, because you just don't make enough resources to ever make it worth it. And just switch these two. According to the devs, from my understanding, they recommend power first and the factory second. And I don't, and I'll be able to show why once we get the second floor, and mainly because of scripting too, with the AI scripting and things like that that you can do, is the reason why I don't think that the factory is better for the second part. It could technically help speed up this part I'm doing right now, but I do think because of the multiplier from mining that gets so seriously bad eventually from military upgrades, this is better. So that should do it. And as an example, you'll just be able to see I can go straight to era almost instantly, so that means I'm already in 100 billion multiplier, and this is billions inside of era. And you need to get to 5 to get to military 9. This is how crazy it gets, and this is something I've been trying to point out from the beginning. This game, it gets insane, and it gets very complicated. You have to really point out how to get to different types of multipliers to do things that seem impossible, and you have to figure out ways out. Like, for example, in this era, there's so many things here that are going to matter whenever it starts to get complicated. I just am not there yet, and I still need to do this one, so I need to go to a lightning. So just as an example, go to one that has lightning, electricity, and grind this in a loop. It doesn't really matter if you lose. The main thing that you need to be able to do is kill something. And the tricky thing is, you can't kill anything in era at first, and that's why I invested a little bit of gems, even though I don't have a good way to make them yet. And here, because whenever you do this, you have to pay for the top and the bottom before it gets done. And the gems is where it hurts a little bit right now. You have to be very careful with gems until you get the factory that gets rid of those types of problems. The very, very rare stuff becomes automatic without having to worry too much about it. There are better ways to make gems, and I honestly don't remember what they were. I think it has to do with investing in the lab here, but that gets complicated as well, and that's a massive investment. You need stupid amount of gems to even start this. You need so many, like EP20 or something, to even think about getting into this. So same with exotic. This gets incredibly insane too, because it takes massive amounts of soldering, and obviously that's not possible right now. So yeah, there's eventually these two things become great, but in order to break through that, the easiest way I know of is through the factory. So if there is a better way, I'd like to know it. You could, I guess, the bosses, if you grind bosses, you get exotic gems due to the perk here. You only get 1/10 the amount you got from the original boss. I wouldn't say it's a very good way to do it. And so you'd have to be at really high boss levels here, and you'd have to have the modules. So I mean, it's possible to go that way. I can see a path there, but I don't think it's worth it, honestly. And yeah, that should do it. And once this starts kicking in with the tier 5 production, I'll be doing a lot more in here. I need to do the light experimentations for every single possibility and of all the different images. Get that done. And then I have to... This one's going to be finished on its own eventually. Don't have to really do too much with darkness because it'll take care of itself with a worker. You just put a worker on this one. Do a couple of prestiges to make it a little bit faster, but you'll max out without needing to do too much for darkness. And eventually you'll max it out anyway because there's just no reason not to. Same with all of this, but yeah, the main thing, the part that I already showed is where you really wanted to get through, and that's to get these modules. So yeah, actually, freezing is one you do want to keep up on because it's very much time based. As far as the plants go, one thing that's good about them is going through to where was it? Oh yeah, the botany. It'll tell you each thing, how to unlock things. It needs to be chilly and all that. So, and then there is guides out there too, like what I've showed in the past for wiki for doing this nighttime, cold, heat. You just kind of do things based off of what the description's saying until you get all of the plans. This becomes incredibly fast automatically too through prestiges. Eventually you just start growing instantly and you just keep trying to do different things. It's very easy. So since I have a super hot, what I'm going to do is I want it to be day, hot, and just do that for every single one of these until all the hot stuff goes away. And you can do cross things too eventually, like something like this. Yeah. Alright. That's pretty much it right now. Really comes down to... Oh yeah, and this is something I just need a lot... Yeah, you really want to get all the procedures for this. It just takes a long time to max out, but eventually you'll get so many points that you'll hit a cap on this. There is actually a limit. And it'll be enough to max out though for universal damage. That's of course important, like I mentioned before. And this needs to continue to go up. This is going to take a lot too. These two take a tremendous amount of research in the end. That's why I haven't bothered too much yet until this gets fixed. So yeah, and oh, actually, this is one thing I need to get back into. So the reason why you want to do the 5-minute thing instead of the exotic, even though it's what you really want, is because each time you succeed, it changes multipliers. So yeah, see that. So actually, get this all updated a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so you just keep doing this 5-minute one to increase multipliers, and the weather will also increase multipliers, and the weather goes up based off it. So this is again another resource thing I need to get taken care of and max out. Yeah, the factory is important because then you don't even have to worry about going to every single one of these taken care of, and one by one you'll get resources for all of it. And that's when this pays off big time and things start to flip. So that's my recommendation of how to do it. Seems to be the best way so far. And yeah, let's see. Oh, and tower assets. This is always, the town assets too build up over time. It's worth it to keep up on this too. Buy as many as you can, as often as you can, and just keep buying. This is it's not something that's too much. Around 200% is where I am right now. So that seems to be a good target at this point, where you're starting to get to the real grind where things start to change a lot. So yeah, these are already gone up quite a bit too. And the tricky thing about this is, you see, the reason why I only do a little bit at a time is because if I add just one more, it will double the time of all of it. So that's it's a little strange how the calculation of time works with the asteroids. You only want to do a couple of them at a time. Otherwise, it's gonna spread. The timer will get exponentially worse. So I could show you just how bad. Like if I keep going and I try to do all of them at once. Look at the time. Those are hours. So yeah. Now, what is that? That's like years at that point. I don't know. That's very, very many. That's a very long time. So that's why you only do a few at a time. So the more active you are, the faster you can do asteroids, or you can do kind of a reasonable chunk of how long you think you're going to be AFK and do that. That's what I recommend. And just let it go. And yeah, things are starting to get pretty interesting again. I can't wait. It's about mid game, pretty close to it, I'd say. So yeah, good stuff. And that's it for now. Mainly just, oh yeah, I wanted to make sure that did go up to show that as well. So yeah, see, it went up to 265. So it does take a little bit of time. It's a little bit slow at first, and that's just because there's just no good way to get resources yet. So mining, because asteroid becomes practically impossible late game. It takes, you don't do that early, it's going to be massive. And I still recommend factory on the second floor, despite the fact that you do the factory pretty bad, to help fix this gap a little bit easier. So yeah, that's it.